Look around your local dog park on, well, any given Saturday, and you're going to witness this quiet, completely preventable crisis.
Yeah, it's pretty alarming.
It is. Current veterinary statistics show that well over 50% of domestic dogs are overweight or, outright obese.
Right.
We are quite literally loving our best friends to death right through the food bowl. So, welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here.
We know you're here because you want to cut through all that marketing noise. You want to bypass the confusing pet store aisles and just get the practical, boots on the ground knowledge that actually impacts your dog's health.
No jargon.
Exactly, just the signal.
Because it is arguably the single most consistent foundational choice you make for their lifelong vitality. I mean, we're talking about the biology of nutrition here.
Right, those microscopic decisions that just compound every single day.
Yeah, every single meal.
And our source material for this depth dive is this phenomenal excerpt from the Border Collie Health Academy.
It's a great piece.
It really is. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, I have a pug or, a golden retriever mix, is this for me? The answer is an absolute yes.
Oh, totally.
The source text focuses heavily on the highly active athletic Border Collie. Sure, but we are using this specific breed as like a magnifying glass.
Right, it's a great baseline.
By examining a breed that demands so much from its physical body, we're going to extract these master-level, universal insights about canine biology. We're going to decode those intentionally confusing food labels and figure out how to actually evaluate the dog standing right in front of you.
It's like when automotive engineers study high-performance Formula One engines, right?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, they discover truths about physics and combustion that eventually apply to a standard family sedan.
Makes perfect sense.
The exact same principle applies to canine metabolism. By mapping the intense nutritional demands of a working Border Collie, the baseline rules of protein synthesis, fat absorption, portion control, they just become incredibly stark and clear for any dog.
Even the couch potatoes.
Exactly, whether they're running agility courses or just aggressively guarding your living room sofa.
Okay, let's unpack this, because before we can even start talking about how much food a dog actually needs or what premium bag to buy, we first have to establish what is genuinely happening on a cellular level when a dog eats.
The underlying machinery.
Right, the biological mechanics. I like to think about building a dog's diet almost like building a house.
Okay.
So protein is your foundational lumber. It's the frame, the load-bearing walls, and fats are the insulation, the weatherproofing, the protective sealant.
Let's take that lumber analogy a step further, actually. If we look at protein, the source notes it's essential for muscle maintenance and repair, but it goes way beyond just building visible biceps on a dog,
Right.
Protein provides the amino acids required for immune function and for producing the enzymes that drive almost every chemical reaction in the body.
Wait, enzymes, like for digestion?
Digestion, cellular repair, all of it. Enzymes are the chemical catalysts that make those things happen. So if you build a house and skimp on the lumber,
The structure eventually warps.
exactly, it collapses under its own weight. For an active breed, getting adequate, highly digestible protein is completely non-negotiable for their biological machinery to operate.
Wow, okay. And then we look at fat, which, carries so much baggage from human diet culture.
Oh, definitely. So much projection there.
We project our fear of fat onto our dogs, treating it as just empty calories or something to be minimized. But the source makes a really compelling case that fat is this incredibly active, dynamic component of canine health.
Yeah, it's doing some of the heaviest lifting in the body. Fat is the crucial delivery network,
Meaning what, exactly?
meaning it's required to support the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins, specifically vitamins A, D, E, and K.
Oh, I see.
Those vitamins literally cannot travel through the body's watery environment without hitching a ride on fat molecules.
Wait, really?
Yeah, without enough dietary fat, your dog cannot absorb those vital nutrients, no matter how vitamin-rich the kibble is.
That's crazy.
And fat also regulates the inflammatory response at a cellular level. Plus, that signature brilliant shine on a healthy dog's coat?
Oh, yeah, we all want that.
That is the visible result of appropriate fatty acid intake.
Which brings me to a really interesting question. The source notes that carbohydrates are not technically essential for dogs to survive.
Right.
Like, dogs can biologically synthesize the glucose they need from proteins and fats alone.
They can, yes.
If that's true, why on earth are carbohydrates included in almost every single commercial diet on the market? Are pet food companies just padding the bags with cheap filler?
What's fascinating here is that while carbs are technically non-essential from a pure survival standpoint, they play a highly practical, almost irreplaceable role in modern canine diets.
Okay, how so?
Well, first, they provide a source of readily available, easily accessible fuel. If protein is the lumber, think of carbohydrates as the kindling in your fireplace.
Ah, so it burns fast.
Exactly. It burns quickly and gives immediate explosive energy, which a working border collie desperately needs. But, biologically speaking, carbohydrates provide fiber.
Meaning they dictate the health of the gut microbiome?
Precisely. Fiber dictates transit time, how fast or slow food moves through the digestive tract.
Got it.
It feeds the beneficial bacteria in the colon, which in turn produce short-chain fatty acids that protect the intestinal lining.
So it's not just filler.
Not at all. Plus, from just a manufacturing standpoint, carbohydrates provide the structural integrity that allows dry kibble to hold its shape.
Oh, so it doesn't just crumble to dust.
Right. So while the dog might not need carbs to merely exist in the wild, carbs serve a deeply useful metabolic role in a balanced domestic diet.
Okay, so we have our macronutrients, we've got our lumber, our insulation, and our kindling. But the source also dives into the micronutrients, right? The vitamins and minerals, which are required in microscopic amounts but carry massive biological consequences.
They do.
These are like the nails and screws holding the whole house together.
And if the nails are missing, well, the lumber doesn't matter.
Right.
The text specifically highlights calcium and phosphorus, which must be perfectly balanced. It's not just about having enough calcium, it's the ratio of calcium to phosphorus that dictates whether bones mineralize correctly or if they become brittle.
That's a delicate dance.
Very. Then there's zinc, which synthesizes collagen for skin health and supports the immune system. And the B vitamins, which act as coenzymes.
Coenzymes.
Yeah, they're the actual chemical keys that unlock energy from the proteins, fats, and carbs. Without B vitamins, a dog could eat all day and still literally starve for energy at a cellular level.
Wow. But we cannot gloss over what the text identifies as the most critical nutrient of all, which, ironically, isn't even found in the food bowl.
Right, water. Water is arguably the most vital nutrient of the canine body.
Every single metabolic process we just discussed relies on it.
Digestion, vitamin transport, cellular respiration, it all takes place in a watery medium. But here's the crucial diagnostic takeaway for you listening. Water intake is an early warning system. Sudden, significant increases in your dog's water consumption shouldn't be dismissed as them just, being thirsty after a walk.
It's a red flag.
It's a giant red flag for veterinarians. It points to systemic shifts like kidney disease, diabetes, or Cushing's disease.
So pay attention to the water bowl.
Exactly.
Okay, so we understand the fuel now. We have the biological blueprint. But calculating how much fuel the engine requires leads us directly into how a dog's requirements dynamically shift based on their daily lifestyle and their life stage.
Which tackles the myth of the infinite engine.
Right.
Which is a trap owners of high-drive dogs fall into constantly. People assume a Border Collie is just inherently this furnace that needs massive amounts of calories.
Right, they see the breed and think, I gotta feed this thing constantly.
But the text highlights the vast spectrum of caloric needs even within one active breed. Picture a Border Collie competing in agility trials 6 days a week.
Okay.
Versus a Border Collie living in a suburban home whose biggest exertion is 2 moderate neighborhood walks a day.
I mean, their baseline metabolic rate might be slightly higher than, say, a Basset Hound, but activity level remains the single largest variable.
Precisely. The agility dog is a high-performance athlete actively burning through glycogen stores. The walking dog is simply existing at maintenance level.
So if you feed the suburban dog the athlete's diet,
just based purely on the breed's reputation, you trigger a cascade of metabolic issues culminating in severe obesity.
let me push back on that for a second, though, especially when it comes to puppies.
Okay.
Wait, if Border Collies are a medium-sized, notoriously energetic breed, shouldn't owners of puppies purposefully feed them larger amounts to fuel all that boundless growing energy? Like, I want my puppy to grow up as big and structurally robust as possible.
Pushing excessive calories on a puppy is actually one of the most dangerous things an owner can do.
Really?
Yeah, the source text explicitly warns against this. Overfeeding a puppy to maximize their size or accelerate their growth rate creates an anatomical disaster.
Oh.
When a puppy grows too rapidly, the sheer physical mass of the body outpaces the skeleton's ability to ossify,
Meaning?
to turn soft cartilage into hard bone.
So the joints are basically carrying a heavy, adult-sized load while they're still soft and unformed.
That is exactly the mechanism.
Yeah.
And it leads directly to skeletal disorders like osteochondrosis, where the cartilage actually cracks and separates from the bone.
That sounds incredibly painful.
It is. Or it leads to severe hip dysplasia. Now, puppies do require specific, higher nutritional concentrations like precise calcium ratios and extra protein for tissue synthesis.
Right.
But steady, meticulously controlled growth is the only safe goal.
And then as they transition into adulthood, that's the phase where strict coercion discipline really comes into play, right? Because a dog's appetite rarely matches their shifting reality.
Yes. An adult dog's brain will almost always demand more food than their body requires, especially when their activity level drops.
Like during the dark winter months when park visits drop to 0?
Exactly. Or if the dog has a minor injury requiring crate rest.
The dog's stomach still expects 3 cups of kibble, but their metabolic output has just plummeted.
So the owner has to step in as the regulator. And this regulation becomes even more critical as we reach the senior years, which the text notes often catches owners completely off guard.
Well, yeah, because there's no alarm bell that rings on their 8th birthday announcing they've officially entered their senior era.
Right. But senior diets aren't just a marketing gimmick. They are formulated to accommodate a changing physiological landscape.
How so?
The overall metabolism slows down. Kidney function often begins to naturally decline, which is why senior diets usually feature lower, highly controlled phosphorus levels to protect the kidneys.
Oh, that makes sense.
And they feature adjusted protein and fiber profiles to keep an aging digestive tract moving.
So if there's no specific birthday to make the switch, who actually makes the call?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is why the internet cannot replace your veterinarian.
Yeah.
You cannot base the shift to a senior diet on a generalized chart. Your vet is tracking your dog's specific wear and tear, analyzing their blood work for subtle organ changes, and assessing their metabolism to dictate exactly when that life stage transition must happen.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because a dog's metabolism and their activity levels are a constantly moving target, you can't rely purely on a formula, right, or the bag's instructions, or even the scale at the vet's office. You have to transition to evaluating the physical dog standing right in front of you.
Moving from the theory of caloric intake to the tactile reality of body condition scoring.
Yes. I love the analogy here of dog weight versus body condition compared to human BMI versus actual body fat percentage.
It's spot on.
You can have a human who is a statistically normal weight on a generic BMI chart, but their body fat percentage is dangerously high and they carry 0 muscle mass.
Right?
The text makes it clear that a dog can be at a mathematically normal weight for their breed, but still be dangerously over or under conditioned based on how that tissue is distributed.
Because the number on the scale only tells you total gravitational mass. It does not differentiate between lean muscle and adipose fat tissue.
Yeah.
Body condition scoring evaluates the actual physical composition of the dog, and the source outlines how to do this at home using a hands-on test and a visual assessment.
Okay, let's walk through that hands-on test. You run your hands along your dog's rib cage. But what is the specific tactile feedback you are searching for?
A great way to visualize this is using your own hand.
Okay.
If you make a fist and run your fingers over your knuckles,
Wait, like this?
yeah, feel those bumps. That is what an underweight dog feels like. Sharp, protruding bones with 0 padding.
Right, very bony.
Now, if you lay your hand flat and feel the back of your hand, you can feel the distinct structure of the bones beneath a thin layer of skin.
Oh, yeah.
That is ideal. You should feel the dog's ribs easily without pressing hard, but they shouldn't feel sharp.
Okay, got it.
But if it feels like the fleshy palm of your hand, or you have to literally dig your fingers in to locate the skeletal structure, the dog is overweight.
That is such a practical way to test it. And the visual test pairs with that, right? Using 2 distinct angles.
Yes. First, you look down at your dog's spine from above. You must see a clearly visible waist. The body should visually cinch inward behind the rib cage before widening out at the hips.
And the second angle?
Second, you look at the dog's profile from the side. You're looking for a definitive abdominal tuck. The underline of the belly should slope sharply upward toward the hindquarters. It shouldn't hang flat and certainly shouldn't droop downward.
Let's talk about the biological consequences of failing these tests, starting with being overweight, because it is so easy to let a dog get a little chunky, and culturally we often just brush it off as cute.
Oh, he's just a little husky. Yeah.
Right. But the internal systemic risks are devastating.
They are life-altering. Every single extra pound of fat is an exponential multiplier of force on those joints. If a dog is 5 pounds overweight, that translates to massive kinetic stress on the hips and knees every time they jump off a couch. It leads directly to early onset osteoarthritis.
And it's not just mechanical stress, is it?
No, beyond the mechanics, fat is biologically active tissue.
Meaning it does things.
Yes, it secretes inflammatory hormones, causing chronic, low-grade systemic inflammation.
Wow.
It leads to insulin resistance, cardiovascular strain, and inevitably shaves years off the dog's life.
On the flip side, an underweight dog, where the ribs, spine, and hips are visually sharp, carries a completely different set of biological dangers.
An underweight dog has absolutely no metabolic reserves. If they contract an illness or suffer an injury, the body immediately needs extra energy to mount an immune response.
Right.
Without fat reserves, the body begins cannibalizing its own lean muscle tissue for fuel. They suffer from delayed healing, poor coat quality, and just chronic lethargy.
Okay, so once you know how to assess your dog's physical condition, you have to apply that exact same discipline to the actual mechanics of feeding. Which brings me to a common habit I see all the time, and I'll admit, I've done it.
We've all done it.
Does it really matter if I just eyeball a scoop of kibble, I grab a plastic cup, I scoop it out? Surely being off by 10 or 20 pieces of kibble doesn't move the needle on their health.
It moves the needle immensely. We must completely abandon the eyeball test.
Really?
Human beings suffer from a well-documented inability to visually estimate volume accurately. What you casually assume is 1 cup of kibble is almost certainly a cup and a quarter.
And the feeding guidelines printed on the commercial bags just compound that error, right?
The bags are a starting point, not a medical prescription. Those guidelines are legally calculated for dogs with average to high activity levels, meaning they inherently suggest more calories than the average suburban dog burns.
Okay, so I'm overestimating the scoop, and the bag is already overestimating the need.
Right. If you take an already inflated baseline recommendation and then visually overestimate your scoop on top of that, you are forcing a massive caloric surplus onto the dog.
Even if it's just a tiny bit extra every day, the compounding interest is brutal.
An extra 50 calories a day might sound trivial, but compounded over 365 days. That small daily overage translates to several pounds of pure fat on a medium-sized dog in a single year.
That's horrifying.
Do that for 5 years, and the dog is suffering from joint failure. The text is definitive on this. You must weigh the food. Using a digital kitchen scale to weigh portions in grams removes human visual error entirely.
So weigh the food in grams, don't scoop it by volume. Now, let's talk about label literacy, because standing in the pet store staring at a wall of brightly colored bags, it's an overwhelming experience.
Here it is.
But the source gives us a roadmap, starting with the ingredient list.
The foundational rule of the ingredient list is that items are ordered by weight before processing. The ingredients present in the largest raw amounts sit at the top. You are looking for specific, named protein sources, chicken, salmon, lamb, as those leading ingredients.
But the text singles out something called the nutritional adequacy statement as the most overlooked item on the label. And I'll be honest, I've read a lot of pet food bags, and I don't think I've ever actively searched for this.
Most owners haven't, but it is legally the most vital piece of text on the packaging. The nutritional adequacy statement proves whether the food was actually formulated to meet established, scientifically validated nutritional standards.
Oh, so it's not just marketing fluff.
Exactly. And crucially, it specifies the life stage it's designed for. Does it meet the standards for growth, meaning puppies? Or just adult maintenance?
Oh, I see.
If you feed a growing puppy a food formulated only for adult maintenance, you are systematically starving them of essential developmental nutrients, regardless of how expensive or premium the brand claims to be.
And then there's the guaranteed analysis, which shows the minimum percentages of crude protein and fat and the maximum percentages of moisture and fiber.
It serves as a rough comparative tool, yeah, but the source issues a massive warning here.
Which is?
Guaranteed analysis does not equal bioavailability or true digestibility.
Ah, right.
A food might legally claim 25% protein on the label, but if that protein comes from a highly indigestible source like feathers or leather, the dog's digestive tract cannot extract the amino acids. It just passes right through as waste.
Which highlights a deeply reassuring point from the source, actually. They emphasize that there is no single specific brand or even a specific delivery method like wet food versus dry kibble that is universally superior.
That's right.
As long as the food meets those rigorous standards and is biologically appropriate for the dog's life stage, you're making a solid choice.
Nutrition should be driven by biological requirements, not by falling victim to boutique marketing trends.
Now, part of navigating those requirements involves the hidden calories in treats.
Oh, yes.
The source notes that treats should never exceed 10% of a dog's total daily caloric intake. For an active breed in heavy training, you hit that 10% wall incredibly fast.
You do, which is why professional trainers utilize microscopic low-calorie treats. But the real secret is macro-balancing the main meal.
What does that look like?
If Tuesday involves a heavy training session with a high volume of treats, well, Tuesday's dinner kibble must be proportionally reduced. The total daily caloric envelope cannot be breached just because you are practicing obedience.
Got it. Now, while we're on the topic of extras, the source explicitly lists human foods that are highly toxic to dogs. And these are not just upset stomach foods, right? They trigger severe biological emergencies.
We need to understand why they are toxic too. Grapes and raisins, for instance, can trigger acute sudden renal failure.
The kidneys just shut down.
Yes, the dog's kidneys simply shut down. Onions and garlic contain compounds that cause oxidative damage to red blood cells, literally causing the cells to burst and resulting in severe anemia.
That's terrifying.
Chocolate contains theobromine, a compound dogs metabolize incredibly slowly. It overloads their cardiovascular system and causes fatal heart arrhythmias.
And then there's xylitol.
Xylitol, a common artificial sweetener in peanut butter, and gum fools the dog's pancreas into releasing a massive surge of insulin, plunging their blood sugar to lethal lows in minutes. Oh, and macadamia nuts.
Oh, right, macadamia nuts.
Yeah, they cause severe weakness, tremors, and hyperthermia. Basically, keep all of these entirely out of your home, if possible.
Definitely. Okay, regarding dietary stability, the source warns against constantly rotating your dog's primary food to chase the newest fad.
Dogs thrive on biological consistency. Their gut microbiome physically adapts to process the specific macronutrient profile they consume daily.
So if they have vibrant energy, a healthy coat, a stable waistline, and solid digestion, don't disrupt the system.
Do not fix what isn't broken. If you must change foods for a medical reason, it requires a gradual 7 to 10-day transition, slowly mixing the new food while decreasing the old.
To prevent the microbiome from going into sudden digestive shock.
Exactly.
Now, managing all this data, the daily grams, the macro changes, the vet visits, it's a heavy lift. The source mentions a digital tool called the Vital Pet app to help organize the chaos.
Yeah, it acts as an organizational companion, letting you track weight trends over time, log vaccination schedules, and store laboratory blood work all in one accessible place.
Though the text is very careful to clarify that the app does not replace the veterinarian. It's a digital filing cabinet, not a diagnostic engine.
Exactly right. The vet analyzes the data, the app just holds it.
So what does this all mean? If we synthesize everything we've pulled from this deep dive, the overarching lesson is that a dog's lifelong health is not secured by one grand, expensive purchase at the pet store.
No, it's not.
It is the steady, quiet culmination of daily portion control, educating yourself on biological label literacy, respecting the shifting metabolic needs of different life stages, and relentlessly monitoring their physical body condition alongside a medical professional.
It requires a remarkable level of dedication and observation, and it leaves me with this final thought, actually.
Okay, let's hear it.
We have just spent this entire time outlining how to meticulously weigh a dog's daily fuel down to the exact gram. We've discussed rigorously decoding the fine print of nutritional adequacy statements and dynamically adjusting their macronutrients for every single shifting life stage to maximize their longevity and joint health.
We have.
If we as pet owners are willing to be this intensely disciplined and scientifically observant about what goes into our dogs' bodies to keep them thriving, why are we humans so often perfectly fine with completely ignoring our own shifting metabolic needs and portion sizes?
Wow. That is definitely something to chew on.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you walk away feeling empowered, and we highly encourage you to go look at your own pet's food labels today with completely fresh eyes. Until next time.